Okay, Hachaim, everyone. We're continuing in our Hachaim, Hakadosh, Perik Mem Dalet, Pasuk Aleph. We just finished the part that Yosef Tzaddik finally sees Binyomin after many years. As we know, Yosef told the brothers, don't come back to Mitzrayim unless you bring Binyomin. After seeing Binyomin, he invites them all to have a meal with him. He pulls out his magical cup where he makes believe that it has the power to tell him the future, the power to tell him whatever he wants. And as a proof to show that he is a magician, he sits all his brothers according to their age and according to the mothers that they're from. Now, they don't know, obviously, that this is Yosef. They think that this cup is a witchcraft and is able to perform magic. After the brothers are getting ready to leave, Yosef Tzaddik tells Menashe, his son, to fill up the sacks of the brothers with food and money, and also take this magical cup and put it in the sack of Binyomin. And the Hachaim wants to understand what was the purpose of this. As we're going to see later on, Yosef Tzaddik sends the soldiers to arrest the brothers, and it ends up that Binyomin was found, quote unquote, to be the thief, and he was going to throw him into jail. So the Hachaim wants to know what was the purpose of this whole spiel, so to speak, starting that he imprisoned Shimon, told him only to bring Binyomin, then brought Binyomin down. What was Yosef Tzaddik trying to accomplish? And we're going to learn a very important Hachaim. What was the kavana of Yosef Tzaddik? It seems that he was causing them tremendous tsar, and in actuality he was, but there was a purpose to it. And the Hachaim is going to explain. So we're beginning the Hachaim, Male Eskevia, Tzorach Ladas. We have to understand, Tam Yosef Binyomin Elu. What was Yosef's reasoning for acting this way? Im Litzaron, if he just wanted to cause them pain, Haloi Maisev Machicham, Ki Gomer B'Liva Shalom. It sort of contradicts what he was doing with them, because before that, Ochal V'Shasa Imahim. He ate and drank with them, V'her Lahim Shalom, and he showed peaceful gestures to them, asking how their father was, how they are, making sure they had food. So the Hachaim says it's very hard to figure out what Yosef's intention was. V'ulai, says the Hachaim, Ki Niskavim L'Shalosh Devarim. Yosef really wanted to achieve three things. And in order to achieve the following three things, he had to put the brothers through the following test. Number one, they committed a crime. What was the crime? They kidnapped Yosef and they sold him away. And therefore Yosef Tzaddik knew that they needed a kapara for that. And as long as they didn't have a kapara, there would be something over their heads and they wouldn't be able to have a complete tshuva. So therefore, Yosef caused them to come under the suspicion of stealing, so that the experience of being embarrassed, right, for a similar type of avera would give them kapara. If a person gets through a situation that he's embarrassed, especially embarrassed on something, on an avera that he did, that can cause him a kapara. We have to understand, it's not really part of the shir now, why exactly Yosef felt that he should be the one to do it. L'chayra, let Hashem take care of it. That's not the topic right now, but it's just an interesting side point. The Hasheni, the second point, Liros im yitnu nafshan al Binyomin. Binyomin being his brother specifically, right? Would they be willing to risk their lives for Binyomin? That would show them that that would show Yosef Tzaddik that they really felt bad for what they did to Yosef, and they did tshuva, and they had kapara. And that would be like the second step. And through this, showing that they would really be prepared to sacrifice their lives for Binyomin, this would actually be the thing that shows Yosef Tzaddik that they treat Binyomin like a full brother. And then he would be able to forgive them. Remember, part of the kapara has to be that Yosef Tzaddik has to forgive them. So really, it comes down that there were two components here. The first component was that they needed a kapara for the aver against Hashem. That was the first step, that he embarrassed them. The second component was that he had to forgive them. And the only way he could forgive them was if he saw that they really were prepared to stand with their lives to protect Binyomin. And the one who actually had to do it, as we're going to see in next week's Parsha, was Yehuda, because Yehuda was the leader, and Yehuda actually was the one, as we're going to see again in next week's Parsha, the one that stood up to Yosef, ready to prepare and to sacrifice his life. Hashlishi lirmaz lahem inin agneva. The third thing really is a completely different concept, says the Hachaim. He was hoping that through this action, they would be able to figure out, hey, something's going on over here. This is not happening for a random reason. Ulai yaschilu lahargish kishon misha makim asem bebeis halos. Maybe there was somebody in Yosef's household that knew what they did to Yosef Atzadik. And that's why he was causing them all this tsar. And the purpose of that was ultimately Yosef did not want to embarrass the brothers to tell them that he was Yosef, which at the end is what actually he did. And they caused him tremendous shock. And therefore Yosef Atzadik was hoping that by the fact that, they would figure out, hey, this individual knows who's the oldest, who's from which mother, who's the brother of this brother, and there's a lot of problems going on, and he was hoping that through that they would actually come to the recognition that somebody knows what's going on. At the end, they did not realize it, and at the end, Yosef Atzadik had to reveal himself to them in an open manner. So it comes out that Hachaim's cheshbon was that Yosef Atzadik did all this for three purposes, but really the two main purposes was, number one, that they should have a kapara klape Hashem, and that comes through embarrassment. And the second thing was he wanted to forgive them, but he could only forgive them if he thought and he saw that they were ready to defend themselves, defend Binyomin, even at the cost of death, which they were, and that caused Yosef Atzadik, that gave him great simcha and gave them the ability to forgive them wholeheartedly.